Do y'all like my chain?
of it. You can't even
I
see
mean,
it.
my chain air. What do you mean you
Or
can't
like
even
you can
see
see
it?
it just looks like it's a black like it just look okay.
It is black. Everything about Ash Markham in this vibe is black
You're
right
giving
now,
Wednesday
which is
Addams. She went like
okay. So
black
like,
head to toe with the air muff. It makes me think of the braids. I loved Wednesday. She was the shit.
I'll be honest. Like, I don't know enough about like the Addams family to like relate to
You're a
Wednesday,
little
but I'm
young
sure if
for
you
it.
grew up watching
Yeah.
it, people are like, "Oh yeah, Ash Markham's a total Wednesday," and I'll be like, "Huh."
So, no, I mean, not really how you acted because she was like really quiet, but just the like pale
Oh no, I got a big fucking mouth.
with the it's all black everything. She always wore two black like had black hair with braids, white skin, like pale.
I'm not that pale actually. Like I feel like you are much more pale
Yeah.
than me. I actually tan like really stupid well, and I don't know why.
That's nice. I'm I use my tan and I
Okay, Miss fucking IFBB Pro Wellness. Like tan skin, big ass. Yeah, I guess I'd much rather tan nicely.
I mean, I guess, I can use the injectable tan, which again, it I get like slightly past translucent. Um, so we're about the
You're
same.
like one of those underwater amoebas that are like literally like translucent.
So you know what the thing that's annoying for me is like I would rather just be like white, but my skin color is like pink. Like my natural complexion, like even my body, my hair, everything is like pink. Like, can you just not? Just not.
Maybe you're that translucent that you just see your blood.
No.
Like you're more
No, and
translucent
I
than mine,
tan.
where it's like just your blood.
I tan. It's just I try not to at this point. I've already had skin cancer twice, so we're trying to refrain from that. That's with the Milano tan. I get so many freckles and skin cancer definitely runs in my family. I'm like, "Mm, we'll deal with that one."
I like
Meg was the one that told me I had asked her about that, and I was like, "Is this a bad idea for me?" And she's absolutely is. Don't do it. I was like, noted. Yeah.
yeah, personally, like I'm just scared of the side effects. Like not just skin cancer, obviously, but like she told me that whenever she injected it, she would get like nauseous, and I was like, that's something that like I, if that's gonna be a side effect, I ain't taking it. Like it's just I can't handle being nauseous. I don't know what it is. Like I find throwing up being very traumatic. So it's
Yeah.
like,
I mean, I don't suggest most peptides in general. I mean, retatrutide, that's another one that makes you pretty nauseous. Not bad, but like
ooh,
initially, which I
ugh.
thought was really funny because I saw this guy doing this whole long rant the other day about how like absolutely don't like microdose it. And so like when I took it for prep and whatnot, well, coming out of prep, I was getting really nauseous for it. So I did split it into two doses. And he was saying how like ineffective it is doing that. And I was like, well, at least it felt better because it peaks. It peaks every 7 days or something like that. 6 days. I don't remember the exact like. So why would you not want to split those? Because of how it keeps your glucose levels and insulin stable, something like I don't know. Something about that, but like realistically I was getting really nauseous on it. So when I took it in a smaller dose, I felt much better. And I wasn't getting the same like dizzy effects too, because it does lower your blood pressure and insulin and all of the things. So for me, less was better. So that's what I did.
I feel like you're one of those that where like less is more for you, and that just kind of like is what works for you. And that's also another like really important thing. Is like while yes, these protocols, like most of them, some of them are based on like research. Like at the end of the day, you won't know like a proper dosing until you get into like the weeds of whatever like peptide you're running, whether it's retatrutide or fuck even something like MOTS-c or SS31, like any like those mitochondrial ones. It's like again like you got to consider how you react, fucking budget, and then how long your cycle is gonna be. Because some of these things, like I was listening to Heather and Angela talk about peptides, and Heather was mentioning that like it is important to cycle these peptides because of the fact that like your pituitary can adapt, and it's best to not be on all the fucking time.
I mean, it's something, especially even like retatrutide, if you watch the um documents and studies and all that that's coming out about this, they're doing like almost a year-long studies with this, but throughout that time consistently increasing the dosing. And, like, the one, that's gonna be really fucking expensive, and two,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, with the very little research that's done on that, like, I know it maybe girl math, if you wanna call it, thinking, but, like, being on lower d would be I'd feel less worried taking less of something than constantly increasing what I'm doing to try to prevent my body from adapting to it.
Secondly.
I'm sure either way you're gonna have a negative result if you're gonna have a negative result, but that's how I view it.
No, totally hear you, totally hear you. It is October 17th, and we're recording on a Friday, so how are we feeling with that schedule change?
The only thing is I can't do next Friday, so if you wanna do Thursday, I can do Thursday, but, I had something booked already before we made the schedule change that just popped up. I have a back injection, but otherwise we can
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, you get an excuse. You'll get just bring your doctor's note so we can make sure that you're not just skipping
Yeah.
class.
No, not
Just show us your back. Just be like all hunched over and be like, I want to see the
oh, no, they
injection.
give
I
me
want to fucking
a
see it.
big Band-Aid after, don't get it wet.
Is that like for your SI
Yeah.
joint?
It's, sciatica, all that schmeg that isn't working anymore, but we're still gonna go.
Still kicking. We're still training
Great.
legs and real.
I'm curious, do you run into this too with, like, the frequency of having to train lower body so often that, like, you just feel like you're fucking breaking? Because that's how I feel.
Certainly. Especially with like my split change. I'm doing a hinge movement at almost every single workout. And so
And you know what, that's what's the problem for me, like, I have no pain or whatever training any type of, like, squat pattern, extension anything more quad dominant, but it's all the hip thrusts and the RDLs and kickbacks that are what's fucking me.
and I definitely feel the degradation of my spine because I struggle with sciatica too. It's like I had my first flare up when I was probably 12 years old.
Yeah.
So it's something that I just have to be like super mindful of. If I have even the slightest like little twinge, I'm like, all right, well, we're gonna pause that because if not, I'm gonna be debilitated in about 40.
And that's the thing that I've, like, kinda recently learned because it won't necessarily hurt while you're doing it. Sciatica is a weird one that, like, you get this weird, like, "Oh, that felt kinda funny," but not painful, and you're
Hmm.
like, "I know I can keep going, this is fine," but then later that day, you can't even tie your shoes for, like, the next week moving forward.
Yeah. And it kind of it with the frequency that we train lower body, it really kind of sucks that we do have those issues. But I'm sure it's more prevalent in people who are doing more lower body dominant. Or I almost wonder the correlation of the prevalence in someone who's more quad dominant, just because we are like in our normal movement patterns, we are going to be like when we squat down to tie our shoes, we're going to probably lean forward into it. So I just, that's just a little curiosity. It's like,
Mhm.
I'd be curious if it was less about the muscle of being quad dominant and more about like the femur to torso length. Like if you guys are at a biomechanical disadvantage that places more like pressure on that like lower back area. And it's not that your glutes or hamstrings are weak by any means, but because of that load bearing issue, I'd be curious to know if that plays a key role on top of the repetitiveness of hitting legs like 3 or 4 times a week, essentially.
I mean, that's before I even
Thanks.
ever started weight training, I had sagging foot.
I
Like,
did too.
so I, like you said, the biomechanics, I'm really curious. But on that note, like I know Meg has a little bit of a shorter torso compared to her femur length. Laura, what would you? I feel like you're super proportional.
For the most part. I mean, I feel like for my height, I have long limbs compared to most that are 5 feet tall. I don't have that, like, midget look, you know what I mean? That, like, you look like a little anytime I meet somebody that I haven't met in person that knows me from social media, they're like, "I expected you to be, like, 5'5", 5'6". I'm like, "Yeah, no, not it."
We've established I'm shaped like a human wiener dog. So, but like I feel like my growth was stunted because from the knee up, like femurs are long, torso is long, like I have broad shoulders. I look like I should be a tall person, but then my shins are like this long. So
I think part of it too is, like, your childhood upbringing from, like, a sports point of view, like, you were riding horses and things like that. And I feel like maybe, that's more not necessarily weight bearing, but physical exercise that is to be good at it was very frequent, right?
Yeah, dang, I recently
Same thing. Same thing with gymnastics. Same. I had the back issues from gymnastics from one time fucking up a release move on bars, and I went back first into the low bar from the high bar, and that was how I had like a disc fracture. And it just, once you do that, and I was like maybe 13, you're you're done.
mine started when I was jumping a horse and like it, it's called taking a long spot when they jump too soon. And like you have to go with the motion of the horse, but I didn't. I didn't lean forward and I like came off the back and landed flat on my back over a 3 foot 9 inch jump. So it was like the jump height, the space between the horse, the length of the horse, and then me. So I got some good velocity to the ground. And then after that is when I started having issues.
That's definitely, like, very curious because obviously a lot of that is, like, females in sports, some being, like, very, like, gyration based, like riding a horse and having to, like, I hate making this movement because it's like a sex movement, but, like, literally making this movement with the horse, and obviously, like, with both Laura and Meg's being, like, gymnastics and ballet, it's like, that's a lot of, joint elasticity that obviously since you are still developing and, your estrogen and those plates haven't been, like, closed off yet, I'd be curious if that kind of sets you up for and I don't when I say failure, I don't mean, like, you guys fucking suck, but I'd be wondering if that, like, compromises joint
Or
integrity. And then you add in weight training, which is very load bearing and is stressing out the joints and connective tissue in a different way, how that, like, essentially causes these sciatica flare-ups because I did not grow up in gymnastics or anything like that. Like, I was fucking Babe Ruth build, right? So Babe wasn't getting off the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was a catcher. My fucking ass, like, was just, like, always, like, on planet Earth. In fact, I find jumping to be very cumbersome, which is hilarious because I played volleyball. I didn't play volleyball. I tried to play volleyball. Tried to play basketball too, but anything that required me to, like, get vertical, please. At 260 pounds? Nah, that wasn't happening. You know what I'm saying? But I don't have any SI issues. Now, granted, I have tight hips and shit like that from, sitting and doing all the stuff. You know what I'm saying? But, like, I don't have, like, known sciatica pain.
so sciatica for a lot of people come from having a disc issue,
Hmm.
actually impinging the nerve itself. I know that's what when Meg was first talking about her leg, I was like, I guarantee it's a back issue that is rooting from it. And I was right because hers is the exact same thing as mine. I don't know about you for you, Mina, but a lot of the times it's what's causing that nerve to be in pain.
I have two hernias. I don't
Yeah,
know,
same.
fun stuff. I did one of them in 2020 squatting. Um, I found out a little bit later with the low back. I was in high school when they did it in my life. And yeah, so, but we just keep trucking them, and that's how it's my fear. Hey, this is kind of a sharp left here, but when people use like, "Oh, I have a bad back, I can't be," like almost as an excuse.
Same. We're still here.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, like, yes, some of them will use that as an excuse, absolutely. But think about, like, the treatment course, they're normally recommended by their doctors, "Oh, no more heavy lifting." And they just accept their fate as fact because they fully trust their doctor and they don't, like, question or seek advice because maybe they weren't told to be curious or anything like that. But you guys with, like, such a wealth of knowledge of knowing that, like, well, yeah, that maybe that doesn't mean I should be, like, into powerlifting or strongwoman where I'm, like, repetitively, maxing out my back, but still training in a way that I can train toward my, physique goals and my competition prep versus, like, just burying myself into the ground, you know what I'm saying? And plus, like, the fact that you guys are also open to utilizing, like, peptides and compounds to help with, like, joint integrity, that also, like, helps as well on top of baseline health supplements like omega-3s and stuff like that. But I feel like sometimes we get so removed from, like, what someone who maybe has workers' comp actually has to go through that, like, they don't even know that, like, an omega-3 could vastly help their joint inflammation because they just don't take care of themselves, you
Um,
know?
different.
Makes sense.
But just my 2 cents. Not to say that, not to encourage that if your doctor's like, "Oh, don't heavy lift," that you shouldn't get a fucking second opinion, or you shouldn't use that as an excuse to, like, not move your body. Because like, my grandma, bless her heart, like, when she got a mastectomy, um, they told her that you can't lift or vacuum anymore to do this motion. Uh, that was my thing, and so, like, she literally just ran with it, and, like, this woman, like, won't even vacuum anymore.
Mm.
How
You
long
know what
ago
I'm
was that?
saying? Her mastectomy was I think when I was a freshman in college. So that would have been, like,
And they didn't say, like,
18,
for
19.
now or, like, they just indefinitely?
And you see, that's my question, because I get selective hearing is very much a thing, and this is not like me, like, crapping on her, this is just being serious. It's like, I wonder how much of that is, "Oh, just for now while it
Yeah, that would make
heals,"
sense.
or right, or is it a forever life thing? Because no offense, I know plenty of women that have had mastectomies that fucking are in the gym, training their chest. So I'm like, I think it was a selective hearing issue and perhaps even a, "Oh, I don't have to do this anymore" type of
Mm.
thing. And using that as an excuse because, like, it's not lazy, but I don't know.
I would say one of the biggest things too, like when you and this is totally shooting from right hip right now. When you
Is that your good hip or your bad one?
actually that's a bad one, but but when you run, and this is just for like viewers listening and whatnot, but like when you run into an issue with some type of you know disability, I would be more concerned on figuring out what can I do surrounding that area to help that. Like I made a post about this literally yesterday, how I haven't trained abs in the longest time because I didn't think I needed to. And from an aesthetic standpoint for the division I compete in, I really don't need to. But since I have the last 3 months, my back flares have literally been zero. In the last 3 years, they've been fucking all the time. So I definitely would say, and I notice a difference too, just for like something like an RDL or whatever the case. Say I ate something and bloated and I don't feel like my core control that day is great. I end up fucking up my back 10 out of 10 times. So I would say that those type of things are good to be working on and aware of and conscientious when you know you have an injury like that, that is so greatly affected by your ability to brace.
I
Yeah.
actually started training my core again within the last like 3 weeks, for the same reason. Because no, I don't need to train my abs. And like genetically, I actually have very, very blocky. So I'm kind of selective with the exercises I do, but for the same reason, just the stability and the exercises that I'm executing, making sure that I'm able to brace properly, which like learning to brace properly is something I've been on a mission for like the last year, which is also significantly improved. Just finding
Yeah.
that fine.
Yeah, because like, there's a great video from Squat University that teaches you how to brace properly by putting, like, a kettlebell on your stomach and not letting it move while you continue to breathe. That's something that I send to my athletes just to, like, get that physical cue because a lot of us, like, we kind of get confused between, like, what bracing is, what vacuuming is, and what, like, a basic crunch is, and if you, like, cue yourself improperly during a lift, like, I remember, like, tearing, like, a small little tear, like, one of my intercostals because when I was bracing for a squat, I wasn't bracing, I was actually crunching, and so, like, the way that, like, the bar was sitting and then when I exploded up, my breathing was off, and obviously my spinal curvature was off, and, like, that was not fun, right? And so it's, like, a good combination of what I personally have started to do is a lot of ab flexion movements while I'm working on not rotational strength training because I don't want like, I don't want crazy strong obliques, but I do care about how my upper body rotates, right? So it's like having that thoracic rotation from left to right, which also helps with posing. Having that core control, having that balance as well for the hips. That's personally what I've been leaning into a lot. That is helping on top of like routine body work to make sure that a professional is getting in those like hot spots that maybe I can't get into with the ferocity of like a lacrosse ball or a like a foam roller. But I will say a lacrosse ball to like your glutes and to like your rotator cuffs, I- I'm not saying it won't fix all your problems, but like it fixes a lot of them for, like, the majority of people just getting in there and working it out, right? Just to, like, loosen up those trigger spots, but obviously, if it's, like, a nerve issue, yeah, you're not I don't recommend that you get a lacrosse ball into, like, your fucking herniated disc. Like, that sounds
And
dumb.
that's also too, like, I feel a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, if your back hurts, just go to the chiropractor." I'm like, "You're not fucking cracking this. Not cracking that, because that's gonna make it worse."
Made that mistake before. I'm like, okay, I feel worse. Thank you. Love that for me. Piggyback off your lacrosse ball, something like you're talking about, kind of the efficacy of it. With as dense of tissue as we have, especially like your more lower body developed people, I use a kettlebell versus just the lacrosse ball. It doesn't have the same ability as the lacrosse ball, but like I move my body over it versus just moving the ball under me, and it's helped me a lot. And then opening up my hips, I'll turn the kettlebell up so the handle side up and like lay my hip flexor on it, lay my cell up on it, and do some like mobility exercises. Which means using the tools like that because obviously we know the sport is expensive. A lot of people watching have to imagine are a little bit younger getting into the sport. I mean, maybe not, but I know at least like the people who are like I end up surrounding myself with like having the expendable income to go to a massage therapist every week is not really in their cards right now. So it's making the most in between those sessions that you can get.
Mhm.
Just tools and
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely, like, it's something where it's, like, obviously the pros go, like, every single week, and they do, like, all, like, the fancy dry needling and heated stuff, and it's, like, that's fucking fantastic, but, like, for most of us, like I said, like, body work even once a month, that is definitely a luxury, so it's, like, utilizing those cheaper tools off of Amazon. But learning how to use those tools properly, because I feel like a lot of people, again, it's kinda like riding a horse where they're just, like, doing all the full body because they think that's how that tool works or, their favorite shitfluencer, does that, but it's like, in order to make these tools effective, it's gonna hurt, right? And to make it effective, you have to breathe into it to actually get those hot spots and those trigger points to relax. But if it's like you're just like zipping through it and like foam rolling like your hamstrings, for example, like no, you gotta like sit in it and breathe, right? Because like it really does fucking hurt and it's gonna hurt initially a hell of a lot more because it's new, but it's the repetitiveness and the consistency of which you work through those hot spots, and then once you have that tissue to relax, then course correcting that tightness or that imbalance or whatever by either strengthening what needs to be strengthened or, maybe on the reverse side, like strengthening that when it comes to maybe like a tight hip flexor and tight hamstrings, and in reality, it's, like, probably tight hip flexors because you sit all day, and those are constantly being, like, lengthened, and then you're sitting on your butt, so it's like those are weak. So it's, like, getting, like, the right secret formula, if you will, which is why, like, even, like, meeting with, like, a body expert, like a physical therapist or something like that, just to kinda see, like, how your body moves and get a general game plan without having to do repeated treatments, that could be very beneficial as, like, a one-time investment, so that way, you can do what you need to do while also not breaking the bank.
Did you end up doing that? You told me about that a long time ago. You were gonna go get, like, a assessment done.
Talking about
Yeah.
me? Yeah, it was a very similar thing to, like, what I've done in the past, and, like, even I've had Eric do at-home assessments, but during, like, that time period that you're referring to, like, it wasn't very, very helpful because when I was deep in prep, that adds another layer of complication to how your body feels and moves due to just like that sheer stress and repetitiveness of cardio and low food. So now it's like the pain that I have is more just like that residual, like likely sitting all day and the leg length discrepancy. But it's like I'm working in it more through the soft tissue stuff, like with the lacrosse ball when it comes to upper and lower body stuff. And I know it sounds so stupid, but literally taking time to breathe and rest in a way that's not on my phone. Like again, if I would've listened to me 5 or 6 years ago, I would've rolled my eyes and made some offhanded remark about being a pussy. But there is something to be said about not constantly being stimulated that allows your body to actually relax.
I think there's also something to be said knowing that you're that overstimulated to not be able to do that. Have, like, I
Yeah.
mean, I'll be honest, I still have anxiety time away from my phone when I'm trying to, like, not work. You know, when you're like intentionally trying to like, okay, this is out of my hours, blah blah blah, blah, I'm not gonna check. And like even then I'm like, well, maybe I should just let up. Sorry.
My
Takes a lot.
my client gave me this book. It's it's like paper thin, but it is like short little wisdoms that help you to literally relax. And the thing is like you can't just like what the book was teaching me is you can't just decide to relax, right? Because you're constantly doing something, even if you're just sitting, right? And so it's one of those things where if you're trying to like force yourself to relax, it's like it's kind of like think about your digestion. It's like you go to the bathroom and that should happen without force. But if you're trying to force and strain, like that actually hurts and is painful, right? Resting can be very, very similar in the sense that like when you're trying to force your body to relax, you actually get more stressed out and tense. So it's like, well, what do you want to focus on when you rest? It's like, that's why they say focus on the breath, right? Focus on breathing in, focus on breathing out. Because as human beings, in order to be mindful, you have to have intention, right? Like I know that gets tossed around on Instagram, but like those words mean something in actuality. So it's like if you're laying down or if you're sitting or even if you're on a walk, like bringing awareness to something around you or something inside of you, like that is kind of, at least to my understanding based on that book, what mindfulness is and how that helps when it comes to actually teaching your body to learn how to relax.
I'm gonna take one out of that for this weekend because I have not relaxed whatsoever this week. I think I'm on like maybe 20 hours of sleep for the entire week. At best.
Right. And that actually brings up a really good point I literally read where it was like if you're trying to sleep and your body like is just kind of like wired, it was saying where sleeping is just as beneficial as resting because you're giving your body a chance to be
My
still,
grandfather used to say that
right?
to us as kids. Even if you can't sleep, just lay there and rest.
Just lay there and rest, right? Like all the shit that our parents said, like eat your vegetables, drink your water, like guys, unfortunately they were right. Isn't that the trend that was going on? Yeah, it's like, damn it. But at the same time, like, oh, thank God. Like, it's easy to do and it's free, right? Especially to Mina's point, like, not everyone has the ability to go to a yoga class or meditation class or hire a sensei. Dude, I get it. Like, this shit's fucking expensive. I literally placed a grocery order for Costco, $300 fucking dollars. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, everything is super cheap right now. But like, there are things that you can do that are free that will actually help you in the long.
Yeah, I would say everything is absolutely absurd right now.
That's,
Food
I didn't want
food
to get
costs.
sidetracked, but did a similar order that delivered this morning, and I was like, I swear this is like $50 more than it used. It just like chicken used to be a dollar. It wasn't organic chicken, but it used to be $1.99 a pound, and now even to get not organic, it's $2.99, $3.11, something. And both of your significant others also eat like bodybuilders, so it just makes sense. Yeah, and the amount of food a man, no,
Not mine. Mine will eat McDonald's.
I love that.
I don't because a McDeal is $8. A McDeal, a drink, fry, and I think like one or two burgers. And I'm like, that is $2 for a soda and fries. Like back in my day,
Mm,
you could get an extra large sweet tea for 99 fucking cents from McDonald's. You could get a double
Right,
cheeseburger with two patties and two slices of cheese. I will never forget when they went from a double cheeseburger to a McDouble, and the difference was a slice of cheese and like 25 cents. So you mean I'm paying 25 cents for a Kraft single McDonald's? And my fat ass bought it anyway, but my fat ass was also sassy. But
that
I
yeah.
digress.
what happened to the dollar menu? But like in our house, like Garrett's in prep, and he eats a lot of food. We go through a family pack of chicken a day. It's like, okay, bodybuilding is basically the cost of a second mortgage right now. Between
Mm.
just our first prep really utilizing peptides as well.
Oof.
Um, so between the both of us using them at the same time, I'm like, oh, okay, noted.
Speaking of peptides, I know we already kind of were talking about peptides earlier, but I got like something I want to compliment my husband on. He gets a stipend from Ford for a gym membership. And I was like, okay, Ford, I
Um,
see you. But I pay for our gym membership out of my business because it's tax deductible. Didn't know if you knew that, but now, this is not, sorry, hold on. This is not legal advice or advice on how to run a business. This is what I do. All right, disclaimer over with. My gym membership is tax deductible for my fitness business. And since I pay for it out of that, he was like, I'm going to take my Ford stipend and you can buy whatever you want out of it. So he gave me $300. And you know what I
Buy
did?
the
I
groceries.
bought some motherfucking Motzi because I.
I was gonna say groceries because it was the same price.
No. It wasn't our money. It was money just for me. So I was like, I want to play around with some peptides. And I bought some Motzi. Sorry, I guess it wasn't that cool, but
No,
I was
I'm
excited.
excited to hear your experience with it because it's definitely something I want to utilize in the off season.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah, I'm doing that transition from SS31 into Motzi because as Heather explained it on her story, then also that podcast that I watched, it was like SS31 is great like damage control, like post prep when like you're hurting and things are really, really not in a good spot versus like transitioning and rolling it into Motzi to help with that like mitochondrial like maintenance in terms of like keeping those healthy. So it's kind of like repair into like maintenance and keeping it strong and efficient as how I understand it. But Heather would be a great resource to like double check on that.
Is Motzi supposed to be supporting growth as well?
I would say indirectly because your mitochondria and your overall health is in a better spot, right? So I wouldn't market it as like a fat loss agent like SLU. Again, this is just to my understanding. But because your baseline health is, I would say, stronger, you could make an argument where, especially because you were healthier baseline, if you add in other things or continue on with like training really hard from a recovery standpoint, yes, you could be growing better. But I would not market it as something like CJC and imiperilin, where it's like altering like growth hormone and like that secretagogue nature. But again, I'm not the person to ask. This is just based on the research and how I understand it.
Okay. Circle back. Let us know.
Yeah, I will. I will. I got you. I also got in some KPV. Honestly, the thing with peptides, here's what pisses me off
There's
with
so
peptides.
many.
It's all the fucking, well, not only is there's too many, but it's learning the fucking acronyms of them. You know what I'm saying? Like it sounds like it's like Elon Musk's kid's name. It's like it's a slew of numbers and letters, like a fucking license
Nintendo.
plate, and you're supposed to remember that shit. And I'm like, can we have a cheat sheet, please? Like, can we just have like a cheat sheet, please?
Agreed.
That is a lot. That's like, um, eh, where are we at now? Everybody's growing.
Growing, growing in muscle mass and growing in debt.
That's my Garrett and I are talking about going on like a big vacation, like early spring. I'm like, we'll see about that. It might be like a trip to the beach instead. Just with like the cost between the peptides. I know competing in Pittsburgh this year, I don't know if it was location, even without flying, it ended up being more expensive than just from like we did an Airbnb instead of the host hotel. The Airbnb was $300 more than the hotel was that we stayed at in Texas. Just like every item in the Northeast, Laura, you can attest to this, is like at least $3 more expensive than here. Like those little 6-ounce packs of raspberries were like $7. And
Oh, food. You're stupid. Stupid. I was
Yeah.
just letting you talk when you were talking about paying $2.99 for chicken because I pay $6.99 a pound.
organic,
Yeah.
I mean, like organic's like 4.78 or something here, just still cheap.
It's like $6.99 a pound.
And then
And that's for like chicken thighs.
now,
If you want to get organic chicken tenders, it's like $11 a pound.
and this is to my point of everything being at least $2 to $3 more expensive per item in the North. So, I hate that for you. Um, maybe you'll come join us here in the South. Me,
We're in a position though that it's like a double-edged sword because both now Josh and I for the gym that we work at have like too much to leave.
Mm.
um,
It's hard. Like I wasn't doing as much in person until like pretty recently since we got back from Italy, and I went from doing like maybe like 20 sessions a week of in-person training to like now like 38. So literally do a full-time job now. But it's great. I mean, I love it. I love the people. It's good money, all of the things. It flows into my online business, but I'm like roadkill at this point at all times.
Damn. That sucks though, because I know like you were like feeling sick too and run down. And it's like then it kind of like you kind of feel stuck because like yes, you have that like security income to pay for how expensive it is, but then like your health suffers in the process, like it does for like high achieving like entrepreneurs, especially females. And then it's like then you never feel good, and then that makes you feel worse, and then it's just kind of like a never-ending cycle, like you said, a double-edged sword.
I took one day off. I took off Wednesday, and I went in. I just trained and I left because like I knew that when people are kind of like, "How are you? How are you doing? Are you doing everything okay?" Blah blah blah, and you're like, talk to me about the fucking weather. Like I don't care, literally anything.
Laura's like, it sucks. Everything sucks.
Like talk to me about absolutely anything else, just so I can like, because you want to keep your composure around people you don't actually want to know about your life.
Right.
It's not the easiest.
Tough week, and on top of now doing basically double the work that you were practically. Like
Hmm.
it's a lot. And I think Ash and I kind of touched on this, like just shooting the shit through Instagram, just being like tired. I'm so thankful for all the opportunities that I have. Like I remember a couple years ago, I'm like, if I could just have 3 posing sessions a day. I did 13 posing sessions yesterday. I know.
Now, do you have to do them physically when you do that?
Um, well, I do them most of them virtually, but like I also have a lot of first time competitors.
Well, that's what I mean. So you're having to
Yeah,
show them what to do. So
yeah,
like you're posing too.
I'm posing too. I don't wear my
How's
heels anymore. Like my first
mm,
2 years of posing coaching, I would wear my heels too. And then one day my body woke up and said, "Bitch, you're old. You can't do that anymore." So I keep them close by if I absolutely need to show somebody something in heels. But at this point, like I understand the cues in heels where I can still verbally give them, even though I'm in shoes. But yeah, I'm showing, getting up and down, showing different things. Like, again, I'm thankful for all the opportunities, but sometimes I'm like, I would love just a day where I'm not jam packed from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. I also do like online.
yeah, we don't.
Okay, I'm going to buy this book for both of you, and I'm going to read this little excerpt if I can, because I literally just read it, and because I was in my own shit about like being tired and feeling like why am I not happy? Like why does this feel like suffering? Our idea of happiness. Say you have a notion of happiness, an idea about what makes you happy. That idea has its roots in you and in your environment. Your idea tells you what conditions you need to be in order to be happy. You've entertained this idea for 10, maybe even 20 years, and now you realize your idea of happiness is making you suffer. Your idea may contain an element of delusion, anger, or craving. These elements are the substances of suffering. On the other hand, you know you have other kinds of experiences like moments of joy, release, or true love. You can recognize these as moments of real happiness. When you've had a moment of real happiness, it becomes easier to release the objects of your craving because you're developing the insight that these objects will not make you happy. Many people have the desire to let go, but they're not able to do so because they don't have yet enough insight. They haven't seen other alternatives, other doorways to peace and happiness. Fear is an element that prevents us from letting go. We get fearful that if we do let go, we'll have nothing else to cling to. Letting go is a practice, it's an art. One day, when you're strong enough and determined enough, you'll have to let go of these afflictions that make you suffer.
That nailed it.
Namaste. No, ladies, I'll buy you this book. My friend, my fucking client, my prep client, she gave me a cute little gift basket for coaching her through her prep, and it had this book, it had fucking dark sport socks, and I was like, listen, I'm not a dark sport girly because like Amazon is just fine. Like, but these socks, these are some comfy ass socks. So these are some quality socks. So I'll give you that dark sport. But then she also got me this really nice baking set where it's like a bunch of baking stuff. And I was so tickled because it was just another hobby that I get to do. But then Eric is like, I expect a full scale production now since you have all of these other baking pans,
Mm.
he's like, I expect your processes to be refined and production to increase. And I was like, back to the cost of everything. Yeah. I was like, do you know how much flour is and eggs? Like, damn.
I made Dubai chocolate brownies for Olivia's post-show treat. I made 2 pans because I knew I wanted to give some away.
Uh-oh.
The cost of pistachios and, like, so that I could taste it, I did gluten-free as well. So gluten-free flour's, like, 3 times more expensive than a regular flour. It cost me about $100 to make 2 pieces.
Wow. Uh, Also, I meant to mention this to you. You're not celiac, right? You just avoid gluten?
I haven't been tested for celiac, but I am super sensitive, like, to
So I noticed that you got the Oreo flavored Elevate, and you know that that has gluten in it, right?
I found out the hard way because when they sent me my bag, there was no sticker. And then
Okay.
and one of my eyes was swollen and my face was puffy and I didn't.
Yeah. So I saw you posting that, and I was mine did have the sticker on it, and honestly, they didn't market that when you were purchasing it. I'm not, gluten intolerant or anything. I just avoid it because I feel better not eating gluten with my autoimmune shit. But when I got it, I was like, well, fuck it, I'll try it. But I thought of you when I saw that. I was like, I should probably tell her. She might not know.
And you didn't. And you let her
Well, it
suffer.
has a big sticker on it.
My bag did not come with the sticker. My bag says gluten free, no sticker.
Because I remember you also saying you didn't get breakfast for post show because they didn't have good gluten free options. So then I kind of like light bulb went off, and I honestly meant to reach out to you, and I forget why I didn't. I forgot
You're
or
good.
something.
I was like,
This is my letting you know too late.
well, like, I was like, because I was so excited. A girl who was also gluten free DM me, and she was like,
Not that great though, if I'm being honest.
no, it's actually like, it would need more cookies.
Hard disappointment on that one.
Hard disappointment on the salted caramel for me.
Honestly, I feel like Elevate, this is totally off subject again, has gone so far downhill. The ones that are really good is the Flavor Gang. Their taste is so much better.
My only like adversary to Flavor Gang is they like don't label allergen information. It's like I know
Mm.
the ones that have like the Biscoff, obviously Biscoff is probably gluten, but it doesn't say anywhere like contains wheat, contains gluten. I could be mistaken, but I try to like look at the packaging on the bags on the web.
It's just really small font. It does say it.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, you have to let me know what flavors are gluten free. So, because I like the
You
extra
bet.
Flavor Gang too.
The the peanut butter cookie one is super good. I'll look. I don't remember if that one's gluten free or not. Honestly, it was so good. I was like, I don't care. I don't want to know.
Ignorance is bliss. Like,
Don't tell me nothing. Like,
do you just avoid it because of like you said you feel better, like less bloating or
yeah. I definitely feel like less inflamed in general. And like, granted, like I'll have it from time to time. I go through phases. Like I love bread that I'll eat it and whatever, and honestly feel fine. And then one day I have it and I feel like shit. So it's like kind of unpredictable. But I'm sure that it also coincides with like how my recovery is and all of the other things and where am I at with my bodybuilding journey that probably isn't good for me either. So there's that.
I think
I think that's why like an elimination period can be very, very helpful for people is because like it's not always just one
Mm,
thing. It's an accumulation or a load, in other words. And it could be stress from like an environment, pathogen, mold. It could be stress from training. It could be perceived stress of
mhm,
having a lot of anxiety or mental health issues. That all of these things add up into
mhm,
like that bucket. And while absolutely there are some people celiacs or just have a gluten intolerance or maybe even like some proteins in the bread or in the wheat that can cause reactions, like for the majority of people I think they're fear mongered into going gluten free when they don't need
mm.
to, or they don't understand the idea of all of the stress in the bucket, and then they eat a slice of bread and they think it's the bread that like created the shitstorm instead of like looking and taking a step back, because that was something that I struggled with, was thinking I needed to be gluten free, and I gaslit myself to high hell because of social media, and I'm like, oh, I can't eat gluten because it doesn't make me feel good, and then like I ate a bagel and nothing happened. Actually, no, something did happen. I was happy because I had a bagel. So I just want to give that disclaimer that like both Laura and Mina, like Laura has an autoimmune, and Mina honestly probably has some type of like leaky gut, maybe per se, which is why gluten affects her so much and so systemically that like these are cases and points where like their body gives them a reaction. But for the majority of us, like you can eat a toasted English muffin and like not die. And I just feel like
And
that needs to
honestly,
be
even
said.
with autoimmune stuff, like if I'm gonna eat it, I don't have the like celiac reaction that all of a sudden my stomach implodes or whatever. It's I feel it in my hands, I feel it in my face, I feel it in my feet. Like I'm swollen, it's uncomfortable and it's annoying because it's visible, but like I
Hmm.
don't die. I don't like have I'm fine. Just not something I want to feel all the time. Unless I really want some fucking bread and I'll just suck it up. But like
Laura's like, sorry, Mina. I'll just be over here, my sourdough bitch. I'm in my sourdough era.
No, I mean,
oh, I've tried that like 3 different times and I failed every time.
Oh, no, 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 honey. I'm not making the sourdough. I buy that from Godfather
Okay.
Costco. Like, let's be very, very, very transparent here.
All
I
you
like
people, I don't know if you quit your
the
job
consumption.
to do this or what, but it is
I'm not a mother. I'm a consumer.
it just didn't work out. Maybe because I did try to use gluten-free flour with it and it was like, no, this isn't gonna work. Yeah, it was a hard fail several times. And it just didn't rise. It was like flat.
Dude, I have a client, Courtney. I hope it's okay that I said her name. Courtney, I'm bragging on you. It's fine. Where, like, I watch her Instagram of sourdough, and this bitch is like,
It was so
she's
impressive. They're
just,
making the
dude,
loaves that are like swirled and perfectly round.
I was like, what the fuck?
Martha
I
motherfucking Stewart. Like, yeah.
I was like, I love that for you, but also like, um, no, but I do think it's like just good to have that like context and stuff like that. Just overall going into like for what we talked about, like let's regroup. Talking about like sciatica and pain to diet and stuff like that. Like it is so important to understand context, but also to like do research and not take no for an answer just because one person told you so and so. Like so and so you can't lift heavy or you can't eat bread. Like it's okay to be curious and to like get a second and third opinion, right? Because it's like it is your body and it is your life. And I would hate for someone to go through their entire life without understanding like the joy of a bagel because they were fear-mongered into, celiac
Yeah.
or fear-mongered into never like lifting or squatting or deadlifting or doing anything to like, take care of their bodies because one doctor that hasn't like been in medical school for 60 years is like, "Oh, you can't lift heavy anymore." Especially women. Like women, we get shit on so much by doctors. It's so sad.
and
Such a weird concept too. We got into this the time I went to the gynecologist and ruined my rest of my week. Might have missed this one probably, but like I went and saw a gynecologist just because like routine, whatever. This was like 6 months ago, something like that. And I told her I was like, I want to have kids someday, but like not quite yet. And she's like, you should literally leave and go home and get pregnant. I'm like, well, I just told you I'm not ready. And like to the point, she's like, well, there's like a 400% chance that your child's gonna be autistic. And I was like, what the fuck? Like another like the most like insensitive appointment I've ever had in my life, and just like totally couldn't read the room that I was like, this is not where I'm at just yet in life. Like I have a boyfriend and we're working towards these things. We're not there yet. Like I'm gonna go. Never come back. Ever.
pretty. I mean, I had a similar, not similar, but like insensitive type of situation. First of all, that's sad. Also, plenty of people have kids later in life. My mom was 35 when she had me. So,
Exactly.
um, now, on the point of gynecologist, so back in like 2020, routine checkup. Well, I paid for labs through Life Extension, and I'm like, okay, my androgen markers are high. I have all the symptoms of PCOS. I have no progesterone. I tried to go through the like healthy route of doing all the things. I'm like, okay, let me just see if my doctor can prescribe me progesterone. So I took my lab work with me. I'm like, hey, I have PCOS. He's like, no, you don't. I'm like, I have the labs right here. I have like the like I have chemical feedback and biofeedback. Like I have to pluck my whole beard. So I was like, can you please prescribe me some progesterone? He filled a prescription for norethindrone, which thanks, the progesterone. I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me right now. So I like went back or I called up and I ended up getting the situation remedied. But I was like 22 years old diagnosing myself because I couldn't. Well, I tried to get them to run the labs and they're like, you're healthy. And I'm like, I'm giving you all these reasons why I'm actually not. And that's why I ended up having to pay out of pocket. But long story short, to your point that doctors generally are a little insensitive or unreliable. That's just gonna happen the most. So
Yeah.
stay careful.
And it's, like, so defeating because you just, like, you don't feel right and you don't feel good, but, like, that's the thing that, like, I feel like doesn't get spoken enough about. It's, like, for the majority of doctors, their job is to keep you from a disease state, not necessarily to keep you healthy,
Mm.
right? And because, like, that's just kinda like their education, like, their if you look at their medical degree, when it comes to, like, diet and exercise recommendations, like, that's, like, one of the shortest blocks when it comes to, like, their education, and so it's not that doctors are bad or doctors are dumb, because fucking course not, like, to Laura's point, like, when she had skin cancer, was she gonna take, the route of, maybe, like, natural medicine? I mean, yeah, she could absolutely have, but if I were to get something like that, I wouldn't be doing like, I would be doing whatever I could to support my health and my healing naturally, but I would definitely do, like, Western medicine interventions of getting a surgery or, like, chemo or radiation because, like, that to me is much more sure than taking, like, an herbal supplement, you know what I'm saying? Or, like, even if we look at, like, SIBO treatments and, like, antimicrobials versus antibiotics, it's like there is a time and place of what is right for, like, that specific person, that specific context, and to be open-minded and again to gain as much information you can so you can make an informed decision rather than a reaction based out of fear.
Honestly, I wish it was more easily accessible to hybrid using medication and antimicrobials for most people.
Yeah.
Coupled obviously with lifestyle changes and all of those things, but I'm just saying for the accessibility of it is pretty rare.
Well, I would actually be curious now that Amazon has its own pharmacy.
Hmm. Yeah, but I think
I don't know if you
don't you still need a prescription?
but like to my understanding like you I thought you could like go through Amazon to get it.
Let's find out.
Like I saw that you could get like metformin, for example.
I think
And
this
like
is
that's
with
obviously
a prescription now.
well
Like
true,
little
but I
telehealth doctors on Amazon.
yeah, like that's what I thought I saw like that ad for was like, telehealth and prescriptions.
Interesting. So you can actually buy Xifaxan on Amazon for
Yeah.
$824. It says, but it just says right on it, prescription required. Okay, so transfer ours to Amazon Pharmacy. Find out. Oh, it says okay, so you have to like basically get your provider to sign off on it.
Still though, that's at least an option. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like that's something. I know that's $800, but still.
worth
Something
it. Worth it.
for
Yeah, dude, just bug bomb that shit. But y'all, what do you have planned for this weekend? Or tell me something good, because I know this podcast was all over the place, and we were definitely taking a Wednesday doom and gloom approach. But well, tell me something good.
Mm.
I mean there's
Not everyone at once.
uh one of Meg's clients who's my posing client is competing this weekend in Charlotte. So I'm gonna go.
Mhm.
She looks really good too. Um so I'll get to see Meg and get to see her tomorrow. Um Garrett gets a refeed on Sunday, so and his refeeds include burgers and fries, so we're gonna have a little date night on Sunday. Okay. And that's the highlight in my weekend. And then Olivia comes back next week. I've really missed training with her. So,
She's on her honeymoon, right?
yeah, her little European vacation. She's all over the place. I really like her style of traveling. So they like started in Croatia
Croatia.
and then they're just working their way down.
I think she's going where I was in Italy.
So
I know they said they were going to Rome. I don't know exactly. I should have told her not to, but
maybe I feel like it's definitely one of those things. Even though I know literally everyone I see post going there, they're like hate it. It's one of those things I want to experience for myself and be like, oh, I hate it.
you know what? It's not a bad experience if you do it time appropriate, like meaning
Mm.
go for a day. Go and do the touristy shit for a day, but we were there for 4 days, and after the first day, we're ready to fucking leave.
Mm,
So you don't need a long time there. It is cool to see. I mean, it was cool to go to the Coliseum and all of that and kind of getting that experience and whatnot, but I would just not do it for a long time.
valid.
Well, lots of good stuff from Mina. You get to go to a show. Garrett gets a burger and fry. You get your best friend back in person. Laura, what about you? It can be the smallest thing. It could be chocolate chip pancakes. Um,
Oh, okay. I have one. So I've started the like wedding dress hunt, and obviously the one that I ordered came and it was fucking terrible. But I love the picture of the dress of what it was supposed to look like. So one of my clients told me how there's a woman through Etsy who's actually in Vietnam that you message her, whatever, and you send her the dress, you send her the pictures of what you want, and they custom design the dress to exactly what you want. You pick the materials, you send your measurements, all the things. And honestly, it's only $800, but I'm sure that there goes a long way as opposed to, because I was looking at like designer type dresses here, and it was like $3,000 to $6,000 for dress. And her work's amazing. So like, I'm actually really excited for that.
I'm
good.
excited.
Well, that kind of like gets you exactly what you want
Yes.
then. Good.
Have you like looked at venues or anything?
Yes.
It's so many.
No, it's just, so I was supposed to do it with Josh on Saturday, and he ended up in the ER with Max instead. And
Mm.
then with me doing them by myself, I got to see all the things and whatever, and like kind of got a feel for it. And I'm actually supposed to let them know by today, because they were holding a date for one of them. The thing is, it's like they're so expensive. It's either like $22,000 for this really nice venue that's like beachfront and all the things, but it has to be a Thursday night. And I don't know if people will even go on a Thursday night. And no matter what, how many people I have to pay for 75 people either way.
22,000 for a Thursday seems steep.
Well, that's like everything. And it's $20,000 more to do a Saturday night. And there aren't even any available. So it doesn't matter. Or there's this restaurant that's also waterfront, like right where we are, that does like functions and smaller weddings and all of the things that will literally end up like said and done like 10 grand for everything for 50 people. But it's not the like,
Not
like actual venue. So I'm like back and forth in my mind, and I'd really like somebody else to decide, but Josh is not in a position to decide at the moment. So
Well, I'd like to say one, I would come up to watch you become a wife on a Thursday night,
of course, and
as
that's
fucked up as that is.
well, you
But two, do you even know 75 people? Because I sure shit don't. At least that I would want at my
I'm
wedding.
like 10 family on your side, 10 family on my side, and then clients and friends.
Dude, just get a fucking pizza. You know what I'm saying? Like, get like a really nice beach location and like get fucking Papa Juan's to cater.
And that was the one thing. And like at either location, I'm not getting that. The one thing I wanted was like to actually get married on the sand. I could give a fuck where it is. It could be in my backyard. The beach is literally my backyard. Maybe I'll just do that. Like,
Put that money the honeymoon.
Or that would work. Or just go to Lowe's and buy a fuck ton of sand. And just like
dump it.
just dump it. Just dump it wherever you want. That way you get your sand, you get your location. Whoever the fuck wants to come can be there. I will buy you a bag of sand. That can be like my wedding gift to you. It's like 20 kilos of sand. I have no idea how much that is. But it's probably a lot. Okay, Eric says sand's expensive, so you're on your own with sand.
Unless you get like one of these wholesale builder companies. There's one right up the road for us, and we were looking at like what is it called? Pea gravel for like our side yard. You can get a truckload of shit for pretty cheap as long as you get it. They're like, but it only comes in like half ton or ton. I was like,
all right, so we're gonna get a ton of sand, dump it on my front yard, and then we're just gonna get married right there.
just have it on your registry. It's like
Fuck ton of sand. My goodness. I have no idea what's going on this weekend, and that's probably fantastic for me because like that's one of those things where it's like I know I'm gonna go to the gym, and since like Eric, got hooked up with this posing coach, we'll definitely like pose and play, but like I don't have anything planned, and that was purposeful because like
I'm jealous.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, you always gotta plan shit, right? Like, planned, to do wedding venues, plan to get Scared's refeed, and it's like, I wanted this weekend to purposely not be
Just
planned.
wing it.
So, like, yeah, like, whatever the fuck happens, like, who knows? Like, maybe we'll
Are you gonna have
go buy a motor.
what did you call it?
It's not gonna be the dirty day, but it
Okay.
is a lazy day,
Okay.
right? It is going to be a lazy day, so it's not that we're gonna be gross, but, like, I purposely have challenged myself to not make plans.
I like that.
I'm really like
I envy that.
my poor dad texted me yesterday. He was like, "I'm gonna be up in Charlotte. What are you doing tomorrow?" I'm like, "I'm gonna be at a show all day. Like, you want to come watch a bodybuilding show? Like, it's about." Which my dad is kind of into bodybuilding now, so he might say yes. But like, yeah, I plan on being backstage with her at least for prejudging. So, because she drove here all by herself. Her family's not coming until the night show. Meg won't be here till the night show, and I'm like, I literally live 10 minutes from the venue, and it costs like
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
to go backstage.
Yeah, that's nice.
That is nice. Well, good luck to your athlete and good luck to Meg's athlete. I hope you guys have fun. Laura, I hope you're able to get some type of rest. And Mina, I'll need your address because Laura, I know where Laura lives. But Mina, I don't know exactly where you live, but I do want to send this book to you. And shout out to my client Bryson for getting me this book because it's simple yet very effective.
No,
That's nice.
I'm probably
All right, ladies, have a great rest of your day. It's made my day.
You
I
too.
appreciate it.
Chat next Friday.
Bye.
Bye.